Mindset. A good one will make you, a bad one will break you. But what does it really mean, and how do you get a good mindset? It's easy enough to say that a good mindset will make or break your life. But what does it mean, and how do you improve your mindset? So many of us struggle with this exact problem. I'm going to spend some time sitting down and thinking about it. So sit with me and take some time to think about your mindset. As always, I'm going to talk about this from my point of view and my own life experiences. But take the time to reflect as we go through it and see where your mindset's changed over time and why it's changed over time. Again, all of these episodes are a learning curve for ourselves, about ourselves, and just trying to delve deeper into life than just surface levels. So let's get into it and see what there is to kind of dissect from mindset. But it's definitely an interesting concept to start with. So let's go see what it is about. What's going on, beautiful people? This is the Perspective Chasers podcast, and I'm your host, John. On this episode, we are talking about mindset. The thing is with mindset, it's a very broad topic, and there's so many different ways we can dissect it. But I guess I'll try to start small and build my way up, and if I go off track, so be it. But the core of the mindset is it's literally how you think about things, how you process information, and again, that's built through life experience. I guess it's probably an aspect of genetics and your kind of just how you problem solve and everything else. There probably is a kind of genetic component to it. But for the most part, I'm going to say it's learned behavior. Learned behavior from your existence and your environment and etc, etc. But much like anything that you've learned, you can unlearn and relearn and hibbity-hoobla. There's loads of ways that you can process or utilize information. So taking time to sit down and think why you do things and is it still the right kind of mind to have and everything else, it is definitely valuable. I'll give you kind of two instances from my life, one not so serious and one more serious, where just taking that time to see if my mindset was still valid actually had a massive kind of impact on my life. So when I used to train, I was training a lot. I kind of got to a point where I was asking myself why I was training and why I was kind of doing this to myself. And probably a big part of it was to test myself, to see what I've got, curiosity and fun. But there was definitely a kind of air of wanting to kind of see my limit and see how far I can go. When I became a dad, that obviously was a massive mindset shift. And it changed how I approached a lot of life. It changed how I pursued the gym. I was a personal trainer at the time, and really and truly, all my focus shifted onto my daughter, and I'm a single dad, so when she's with me, she is my sole responsibility, and I absolutely adore the time together. But even when I don't have her, she's always in my mind, and how I approach life changed drastically after that. Which ties into the kind of second point of, with me and my daughter's mum, we have a 50-50 custody. So at some point down the line, I was working, and it got to the point where that 50-50 split probably ended up being more 70-30 in my favour. So I was having more time with my daughter, and the only time I didn't have my daughter is when I had work. And the moment I finished work, I'd be looking to pick my daughter up. And I had to ask myself the question, first of all, of am I being overbearing? Am I being overpossessive? This is meant to be a 50-50 deal, and I'm being selfish. And it was a very awkward conversation to have. Again, asking, first of all, if you're in the wrong when nobody said anything yet. But also, giving up something that you love and cherish. But again, I had to think beyond myself. It's not just my life and my experience that my daughter has an impact on. She has a mother, she has other family, that there's far more than myself, and it's going to benefit her to interact with all of these people far more than just interacting with me. Now, your own mindset around that, your own mentality, is to be selfish and have all that time to yourself, and I want to be a good dad, I want to be with my daughter, I want to watch her grow up. And that is important. But then there's so many other aspects to her growing up and seeing the world and experiencing life that are also important. And just taking that time to reflect on that and having those difficult conversations. And like I say, that conversation for me wasn't an easy one. Taking that time to reflect and asking myself, am I being overbearing? Am I being overpossessive? And actually voicing those concerns. It was a bridge to cross, but it made things so much better after it, because the truth was I was being overbearing and possessive, and it wasn't intentional, but again it was through a place of love, but again it led to miscommunication. And if I didn't take that time to reflect on my own actions and how they was being perceived and how the subsequent situation was playing out, I wouldn't have got the improvements that come along with actually kind of saying John, put boundaries on yourself, mate. Don't take more than your share and everything else. Because as much as I did enjoy that time when I had my daughter, majority of the time, it was stressful, and it gave me very little time for myself, very little time for extra stuff. And that stuff is what helps me feel complete. Like I said many times, being a dad is a very important part of my life, but it's only one part of my life. And when you're talking about mindset, compartmentalizing and kind of understanding those aspects of life is an absolute game changer. Because again, for me, if I was around my daughter all the time and I'm not paying her any attention because I'm always trying to do something on the side or trying to work and get this done or that done, and I'm not actually giving her attention. Whereas if I actually share how I was meant to share the custody, I have that little bit of wiggle room to put in the work and effort outside of my normal work and my normal things that I do, and it not interfere with her time. She's still taken care of, interacted with, and everything else. I've still got my fair share of time with her, and I'm still able to do everything else I want to do. Again, it's not a perfect scenario. I'm still working on it and adjusting it, but like with anything, it slowly adapts and it builds over time. And again, so does your mindset. None of this happens overnight. Again, I probably didn't send that message and ask those questions at the moment I had those thoughts. I sat with them for a little bit. And that's the thing, if you don't sit with your thoughts, if you don't sit with the mentality that you have and pick it apart a little bit, you'll never understand the reasons why. And sometimes you need to know why. More often than not, you need to know why. It's when you act blind that you kind of lose sight of where you're going. It's not, again, there's always going to be this ebb and flow in life where each extreme is too bad. Too little is not good, and too much ain't too good. But finding that middle ground is always going to be your best bet with whatever it is. So finding that middle ground with your mindset where you can have that self-confidence to believe in yourself and kind of know when you need to stick to your guns and when you need to kind of give in, but also when you need to call yourself on something or call a friend on something. That's the meaningful stuff, not the emptiness, this, that, and everything else. I was talking to somebody the other day about quality of relationships and duration that people spend together and things like that. And when you actually look at how much time you spend with people and how much quality time you actually spend with people, they're two drastically different numbers. How much time do you spend actively talking to somebody, looking at them, opposed to sitting shoulder to shoulder, watching a show, probably not even talking, or talking in snippets of conversations, or looking at your phones while having a conversation, if any conversation. Like, how often are we actually present in our lives these days? And don't get me wrong, there's a load of distractions. There's new ones brought out every day. But again, it's a test of your mentality if you can say no to them. You don't have to take what's offered to you. I think that's another big problem in the world at the minute. Like, everybody's getting out their pram because this, that, and everything else. Even I do it. Again, I'm not throwing stones. Like, take subscriptions, for example, or whatever else. Like, no subscription service is perfect. But you also don't have to subscribe in the first place. So, really and truly, like, either take what's offered or don't take it. Don't take it and then complain about it. Like, so many of us do that. Yeah, it's a funny old world we live in. But back on topic. Your mindset will make or break you, but training it will happen slowly over time. It's not something it might click into place, but it's not something that is necessarily going to click into place overnight. It's something that you have to keep correcting. Think of it as like slow drying cement. It's got some work time before things solidify. And if you don't correct things in time and they solidify the wrong way, you're in trouble. But if you're on top of things and you pay attention and you correct things when they slip and when they droop and this and that, you've got time to play with and you've got time to correct your errors, and you'll be able to end up with a solid product in the end. But you have to keep your eye on it. Mindset's just the same. If you're not looking at it, it's going to landslide. But if you're paying attention, you can catch the pebbles before they cause the problem. That probably is the best thing I can say on mindset. Small tweaks, gradual, keep like pushing it. It's not something that's going to be like, cool, one dose or one hit and it's back in alignment or whatever else. It's going to constantly need adjusting. Put in the effort though, you're worth it. Like, genuinely. Like, that's probably the second, I don't know, it's up there though. Like, genuinely believe you're worth putting in the effort. Like, no matter what you think of the world, everybody is trying to figure this out. Nobody really has it more figured out than anybody else. Nobody knows what happens once we leave this plane. Nobody knows where we was before we was here. Like, so much of life is a mystery. And there are so many snake oil salesmen out there telling you they know what life is. But really and truly, they're more than likely sad or lost in their life themselves. So the only chance you really stand is if you go out there and find out for yourself. That's the best form of information you're going to get. Find it straight out from the source. Find out for yourself. And even then, you know it to be true to yourself. Somebody else might not hang on your word. Somebody else might not believe you. But genuinely, the best advice I can give you is, no matter what avenue of life you're pursuing, if you want to find the truth, find it out for yourself. Not secondhand. If you genuinely want to know if something's true, do your own research. Put in the effort and find out for yourself. If you want to know if you're a good person, take the time, sit with your thoughts, review your life. See if you're a good person. See what people think about you. Take that time. But you'll never find out if you ignore it, if you don't ask those questions. And sometimes they're painful. Sometimes you've got to give up a little bit of what you love. But it's important to understand that there is a far bigger game at play than just yourself. We are all little antennas of life going around this globe. All of us feel important to ourselves, but really and truly, one's existence doesn't really matter too much. Even the species' existence doesn't matter too much when you zoom out, in even just to the planet scale. The planet would probably be quite relieved, but if you used to zoom out to a universal scale, it's not even a blip. So don't take yourself too seriously, but take the time to appreciate yourself, enjoy your life, be grateful that you're here, be grateful that you can experience all of these things, and have fun. God, have fun. So many people wish that there were still people around to live life and this, that and everything else. Don't waste your existence. Don't begrudge the life that you have. You are the master of your life. Go out there and make it whatever you want it to be. The possibility is there. You just have to tell yourself and believe it. Once you can believe it, once you go down that slow road of training your mind, building the tools, and learning how to fix the cement while it dries, you'll be onto a whole new chapter of life. You'll see a light at the end of the tunnel. You'll find hope again. And you'll be able to pay it forward onto the world. That's all I ask if this episode ever helps anybody. Is pay it forward onto the world. Make the world a slightly better place. Advise somebody else on their mindset through your own life experiences. Pay them forward. Like, we've got to stop believing that we're competing with one another. We're all in this race together. We're all existing at the same time. We're all experiencing life at the same time. So why not help make each other's experience better? And then make the next generation's experience better, and so on and so forth. We ain't got to be so selfish in life. The world is abundant. Life is abundant. The mindset is what's scarce. Take some time, work on it. Work on yourself. I want to wrap this episode up there. The seed for this episode is going to be understand that you are valuable. Don't get me wrong. It is true that I don't know you from Adam, from Anne, from whoever you may be. But to somebody you are valuable. Somebody was glad that you came into this earth. Somebody is glad to see your face each day. Like, you make somebody's day. And if you don't, you can. The power is within your hands. You have so much potential, but you have to believe in yourself. To see your own value, take some time and sit with yourself. Understand your value. And pay it forward. Be a good soul and just enjoy your life. Trust me, you'll have far better existence doing that than hating and spewing venom on the world. Let's all make this world a better place. A single soul, a single mind at a time. All the best, and I'll catch you on the next one.